Hey, Sami here from Agency Fi, and today we're going to talk about a sales funnel and a marketing funnel specifically for recruiters. Now, if you're a recruiter, you're unlikely to have heard of a funnel or a marketing funnel. It's a term that's predominantly used within the online space in areas such as e-commerce, drop shipping, Amazon, FBA, and that kind of thing. But a marketing funnel, a digital marketing funnel, is an incredibly important concept for you to understand as a recruiter. In its simplest form, it's a way of getting people to become aware of you, leading them down a very structured path all the way to a point where they trust you and they're going to go ahead and buy from you. Okay. Think of it as an inverse pyramid. So a pyramid obviously goes up, inverse is going to go down. It's going to start widest at the top. So let's draw that. And it's going to filter down. This is your funnel. Now let's start putting some meat onto the bones. The first stage of the funnel is going to be the widest. It's your awareness stage. Your awareness stage is, as the name implies, that's the point at which prospects or future potential customers are actually going to become aware of you, your brand, and more importantly, your recruitment business and why you're special among all the other recruitment agencies out there. The awareness stage is where you go out and put value out into the world. That can be done in 100 different ways on 100 different platforms. As a recruiter, you're going to have something different compared to all the other recruitment agencies out there. And this is your chance for you to demonstrate that out to the market, whether that's through knowledge that you have, proprietary knowledge you have within your recruitment agency, whether that's through the special candidates that you have or market, salaries that you're aware of within the industry, salary benchmarks, anything that's adding value to potential prospects within your market. Now, prospects can be clients and they can also be candidates. Don't forget that, especially within difficult markets. Creating awareness and creating value is very important because you'll be able to attract both your candidates and your clients much more easily. So you might be asking me, Sami, perfect. I want to get my name out there. How do I go about doing that? Again, there's so many different ways of doing it on different platforms. LinkedIn is one of the main channels that you need to be using as a recruiter. And there's different content types that you can put out there. You can create value posts, things like carousels. You can just create simple old written format posts, but adding value in there. You can create infographics. You can create PDFs for people to download. You can create videos. I know videos can be a little bit daunting for a lot of people because a lot of people don't want to get in front of the camera. But at the same time, it's one of the best ways of building trust, which is going to be very important going down this funnel. So creating content, but more importantly, it's about creating content in a way that's not just delivering value, but it's allowing you to capture their email address. Okay, I'm going to draw a little hook here. That's my little hook, just to capture their email address or their contact information so you can actually follow up with them going forward. Okay. Now, how do you go about doing that? You do what's known as a lead magnet. A lead magnet is, as the name suggests, you're attracting a potential lead. And you're doing that in an exchange of the value that you provide. So let's say you go to a website, you lead them to your website, your recruitment website. And in order for them to download something, they give you your email address. I'm sure you've done that a million times in your career. That's what they've done there. Okay. It's a fair value exchange. They've given you your email address and you've gone and you delivered your value. Done. But not quite yet, because then we're going to move on to the next stage, which is your interest stage. All of a sudden, people have become aware of you. You're suddenly top of mind. They know who you are, but you don't want to leave it there. Unfortunately, what people do is they might create this very first stage here, but then they leave a leak. Okay, that's your little leak there. That leak means that they've attracted that individual or that person, but then they're not nurturing them. They're not developing their brand. They're not being top of mind. They've given them the ebook or they've given them, the salary benchmarks or whatever it is, but then that's it. The lead goes cold. You've done all that hard work creating this piece of value here, and then you're not following up. It's very important that you keep those leads engaged, even though, as you notice, you're going down, the leads are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. However, the lower down you go, the more valuable they become. Because all of a sudden, these people are not just aware of you, they're interested in you. And as we go down, they're going to be at a point where they're very likely to go ahead and make a purchasing decision on you. Okay. So interest. One of the best ways to do this on an automated way is to use email marketing. You create a series of emails that are going to go out, providing further value. You never stop providing value through this entire journey, but you're providing value in such a way that's leading them down this journey. So let's say here you use salary benchmarks. Here you might have like a 10-stage email sequence that's going to send out, let's say, every 5 days. Over the next few weeks, they'll suddenly get more and more information, more value, and then that's also going to keep you and your agency top of mind, so that when a role does come in, guess which agency is going to be the first that they think of? Yours. Okay. And that's working for you while you sleep. So that's the interest stage. However, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of people leave that leak out and they leave money on the table and they leave significant revenue, potential revenue on the table. Okay. So that's the second leak there. Next stage, we have your decision stage. So you've done all that hard work. Okay. You've gotten them down to this point where they are really keen in working with you. They want to start a conversation. You've just given yourself an inbound lead, a lead that's come up to you while you sleep. You haven't had to do a single cold call. You haven't gone out and sent a single LinkedIn message. You haven't done any of that. Your value, your nurture sequences, are all doing the work for you to a point where they're reaching out to you and they want to work with you. All of a sudden, you're on a discovery call with them. Fantastic. We're moving leads further and further down. But there is also a leak here that a lot of recruiters tend to have. Okay. And this leak is that they can't close people. They have specifically poor objection handling. Someone's on a call with them and they're going through that process, they're going through the motions, but they get to a stage where someone reaches out to them and says, "Oh, by the way, I really like what you're doing, but your fee 25%, 30% is a little bit high." Or we've got our own internal recruitment team and the recruiter just kind of freezes. So that is objection handling. Okay. Objection handling. Now I'm sure you've come across that thousands of times, but when have you actually spent time practicing all the objections that tend to come up within a recruitment kind of discovery call conversation and really drilled it down to a point where it's really second nature? Before they've even finished speaking, you already know what you're going to say. And there's really only about 5 or so major objections. Usually it comes down to money. Okay, the fee. It comes down to the rebate period or the refund period within a candidate. It comes down to having an internal recruitment team. Okay, in fact, it's only those 3 that come up, mostly 80%. Okay, and then maybe it's what makes your recruitment agency different from all the others. So those 4 objections, if you can master those, you're 80% of the way there. Yes, there's millions of others that can come across, but those are much, much rarer. That's like the 20% or so. Okay. So that's a massive, massive leak right there. Next, we have action. Okay. So you've done all of that hard work. You've gone from awareness all the way down to a point where Perfect. You've got them on board. You've got them to sign terms, but you've accepted low fees. You've accepted fees that are just not productive for your agency. You're going forward with a 10% fee, okay? Or you're going forward, I've seen some agencies doing 7% fees, you know, and that's peanuts for the work that you're going to be doing, especially in some markets. You're going to be taking those kinds of fees, especially in contingency. You'll barely be paying the bills. What's the point? Just go and work for a big tech firm or go work as an internal recruiter instead of running an agency. You should be accepting a minimum, absolute minimum of 20% in terms of contingency fees. Absolute floor. Anything below that is really not worth your time. Okay. And really the average salaries you should be working with shouldn't drop below £50,000 a year, or roughly $65,000. 10K fee per placement is what we aim for and what we teach within our program. And that's really, if you want to be scaling beyond the mid 6 figures all the way up to 7 figures, if you're doing anything less than that, it's going to be an uphill battle. Okay. So you need to make sure that you're working to a 20% fee as the bare minimum. So you've done all that hard work only to accept a 7% fee. Not worth it. So that's a massive leak right there. And then we have retention. Okay. All right. Run out of space there, but you know what I mean. Retention. So retention, you've done all of that hard work, awareness, you've gotten all the way down to the decision, to the point where they've signed terms with you, but you've made it a point of just being a transactional deal. You've made one placement and that's it. You haven't got a system for follow-ups. You haven't got a system for building that relationship with that client. You haven't got a system for thanking them for making that deal. You haven't got a system for taking them out, for a meal, for building that relationship. I know things can be a little bit tiptoey around that kind of thing, but it's important. Take them out to the rugby, take them out to the races, take them out wherever it is. If you're spending a couple of grand on that person, that's an investment. It's going to come back to you. Listen, relationships, as with most businesses, recruitment, as with most businesses, is a relationship game. You need to make sure that you're top of mind. If that person sees you as a friend, okay, as opposed to just another recruiter, you're winning. You're going to be first for every role that comes up. That 10K fee, let's say you went and you got a 20% 10K fee, right? Great. Bare minimum, remember. But it's not bad. 10K fee. And you just leave it at that, transactional. You've lost out on potential hundreds of thousands, especially if it's a growing company. If that company comes back to you again and says, hey, I need 5 engineers, right? 10K times 5, that's another 50K that you've thrown away. So it's important when you're looking at all of this and when you're looking at all these leaks, think of the opportunity cost. Think of the money that you're leaving on the table when you're not doing any of these steps. So that's what we talk about when we talk about the sales funnel, the marketing funnel, and specifically when it comes down to recruitment. Listen, if you found value in this video, make sure you like, you comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Before you go, let me quickly tell you why you should subscribe. If you're serious about making money in recruitment, whether you're a business owner trying to scale, a recruiter looking for independence, or an entrepreneur, or a salesperson exploring the industry, this channel is built for you. I don't just share theory, I give you practical guides, step-by-step tutorials, and real insights from my experience. I started from scratch, spent years figuring this stuff out on my own, and now I'm sharing everything I've learned. The wins, the mistakes, and the systems that actually work. This is real, on-the-ground knowledge from someone currently running multiple recruitment agencies, managing teams, and building systems that scale. If that sounds like something you want to be a part of, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe.
I post new videos like this every week, and I also share more insights on my Instagram, things you won't find in any formal degree. So go ahead, check out the next video, and let's keep growing.